Hey guys, thanks for joining us here at Salty Ginger Talk. Today we are going to talk about how to replace a habit we don't want with a habit that we do want. And it's very important that we replace a habit we don't want with a different habit. We're going to talk about why that's important and the science behind it. We're going to give you action steps on each of our tips in here so you can take this and start using it right now. Okay, so let's get into it. A lot of people are attacking habits they don't want the wrong way. They shame themselves. They rely on willpower. They make big emotional promises. They say, this time I'm done, right? How many times have we said, no more, I'm never going back? And then a week later, we're doing exactly what we were doing before. If I had $1 for every time I said that to myself, I wouldn't have to work anymore because I'd be rich. Okay. All of us struggle with it. All of us have things we want to change. We're going to talk today about the way you can actually get it done that gives you the highest chance for success. Now, why do we go back to it? Why does that happen the way that it does? It is because bad habits usually don't just disappear because you hate them. They're often attached to a trigger, a routine, and some kind of reward. Trigger, routine, reward. Remember that trio, right? That's how habits happen. If you don't change that pattern, the habit's coming back, plain and simple. And today, we're going to give you 5 ways to replace that bad habit, the one you don't want, with a good one you do want. All right. So let's just jump into it from there. Number 1, you got to find the trigger. Most bad habits are not random. They happen for a reason. You eat junk food when you're stressed. You scroll when you're bored. And I'm not saying this is the only reason, but these are examples, right? You snap at people when you feel overwhelmed. You procrastinate when you feel pressure. You drink, you shop, you avoid, you overeat or waste time because something else is setting it off. This is where a lot of people go wrong. They focus on the symptom, which is the behavior, and not the root cause, which is the trigger or the cue, okay? In habit research, this is part of the cue, routine, reward loop. There's usually a cue that starts the pattern. If you don't identify the cue, you're going to keep feeling like the habit just happens, like it's out of your control, like you can't stop it from happening. That's not true. There's a pattern. You just haven't slowed down enough or worked hard enough to identify what the pattern is. If you're going to interrupt the pattern, you have to understand it. So our action step on this first step is for 1 week, you're going to pick a habit that you want to get rid of and you're going to track it. What do I mean by track it? I mean, you're going to carry a notebook and a pen with you, and you're going to literally write down every single time this habit happens. Maybe it's smoking. Maybe it's chewing your nails. Maybe it's eating junk food. Maybe it's doom scrolling. Doesn't matter what it is. You pick it, but track it. What happens when it happens? You write these things down. What time was it when it happened? Where were you when it happened? What were you feeling like when it happened? Who were you with when it happened? And what happened right before you started the habit, whatever the behavior is in the habit? You'll see a pattern really fast if you carry a pen and paper and write that down. Don't type it in your phone. Don't leave yourself a voice note. Take the pen and paper and write it down. It's going to stick different if you're in your head. It lodges in your brain differently when you physically write with your hand. That's why we're encouraging you to do that. Okay. Number 2, we're going to replace the habit instead of just trying to stop it. We can't leave a vacuum. We can't just say, I'm not doing this and not have something else to replace it. This is a mistake people make a lot. They try to remove the bad habit, but don't replace it with anything. That almost always fails. Why does it almost always fail? Because the bad habit often serves a purpose. It's giving you some kind of relief or distraction or comfort or stimulation or escape, some kind of reward. So if you just white knuckle it instead of replacing it, it ain't going to work. You remove the behavior without replacing the function, your brain's going to keep pulling you back towards the old routine because it's looking for a reward or a distraction from whatever it is that's causing the behavior. That is why replacement works better than just suppression. You cannot just say, I'm going to stop. What you need to say is when the trigger happens, when I recognize the trigger, I'm going to do this instead. We're going to give you a basic sentence by which to do that. When I feel blank, instead of blank, I will blank. I know it's a lot of blanks. So let's go through some examples. When I feel stressed, instead of grabbing junk food, I will drink water and take a short walk. Okay? 3 blanks. Stress, junk food, water, and short walk. Instead of when I feel stressed, instead of eating, I'm going to take a drink, go for a walk. Boom. There you go. Sentence works over and over again. When I feel bored, instead of scrolling, I'm going to read 5 pages from the book. Right? Boom, boom, boom. Three blanks filled. When I feel angry, instead of firing off a text, I'm going to sit and wait for 10 minutes. I'm not going to send the text. I'm going to wait instead. You need a substitute, not a pep talk to yourself. You need a different behavior to get out of that loop that you've created in your brain. Okay. So use that sentence, right? When I feel blank, instead of blank, I will blank. That's up to you. Pick the habit, pick the new habit, write it down. Number 3, make the good habit easier and the bad habit harder. Real simple. A lot of people act like every habit is a discipline problem. It's not a discipline problem. You've created this loop in your brain and your brain is searching for, it's a dopamine hit, it's whatever that it's searching for. It gets it through food or doom scrolling or whatever the habit is that you're trying to break, right? And a lot of that has to do with the environment you've created for yourself, plain and simple. If the bad habit is easy to do and the good habit is inconvenient, you're usually going to do the easy thing, right? We're human beings. That's what we do, especially when we're tired or emotional or distracted. That's just the reality of the situation. Behavior researchers have shown over and over and over again that friction or lack of friction matters a lot. The easier something is, the more likely you are to do it. The more annoying it is, the less likely you are to do it. Plain and simple. So let's make the good habit easy and the bad habit hard. Stop making the good habit harder than it needs to be. We're going to change our environment. We're going to take some steps to set ourselves up for success. If we're trying to get stop eating junk food, get it out of your house. Quit buying it. Clean it out. Give it to somebody else. Throw it away. It's totally worth doing. If you're going to get off it, you got to get off it. Plain and simple. If you're a scroller, put your phone across the room on a charger and say, I can't look at it until 2 o'clock. Get the temptation away from you. Put it upstairs if you're downstairs. Put it downstairs if you're upstairs. You don't need your phone all the time. Yeah, I know you think you do, but you don't. I'm from an age where we used to not have phones at all, and we made it just fine. It can be done. We don't need to just respond immediately to everything or look at everything immediately. I know we think we do, but it's just not true. If you want to work out in the morning, lay out all your clothes the night before, so you don't have to root through your closet in the dark when you're tired and unmotivated. Lay the clothes out, put them on, go to the gym. Reduce the friction, right? Keep the book visible right next to you. So instead of reaching for the remote, reach for the book. Instead of reaching for the phone, we reach for the book. Prep the healthy meal in advance. So when we have the craving to go eat, we're going to go eat some carrots, or we're going to go eat whatever meal we prepared for ourselves instead of the chips or the ice cream or the brownie or whatever it is that we're going to. Block the distracting apps. You don't need all those apps on your phone. I know you think you do. You don't have to look at Instagram all the time. You don't have to look at Facebook or TikTok or whatever it is that you're looking at. You don't have to do it all the time. Those are choices. Make the bad habit harder. Make the good habit easier. That is setting yourself up for success. That's the way we want to do it. Okay. Number 4, and this one's hard for people to wrap their minds around. You got to start smaller than you want. Like I'm working on losing weight right now because I got weight to lose. And it took me a long time to get over the thought of how do I lose weight quickly? You don't. That's how you do it. You don't do it. You didn't gain it quickly either. You just didn't notice while you were gaining it. You didn't have to work at it. It's a lot easier to shove shit in your face than it is to stop shoving shit in your face. Okay. Your ego, though, wants that dramatic change. It's a hard thing to overcome. Your brain actually responds better to small change, and that's why it works to do it incrementally. You're kind of tricking your brain that nothing's different because your brain's going to fight you, even if it's good for you. Even if you know it's good for you, your brain's going to fight change. It's wired to keep you alive. It doesn't like change. This is where a lot of people sabotage themselves. They decide they're going to completely reinvent their life overnight, right? We've all done it. I've done it. You've done it. We've all done it. From zero to extreme in no time at all. What happens? We burn out. We miss a few days. We say we lack discipline. We throw in the towel and we're back to doing whatever we're doing. Shoving Big Macs in our face or chewing our nails or chain smoking cigarettes or binge watching Netflix, whatever it is that we're trying to get rid of, right? That the problem here is we built a shitty plan. We set ourselves up for failure. We said, if I can just jump over that 14-foot hurdle, I'll be good. Why don't we just step over 14 1-foot hurdles? Let's just do that instead, right? Small habits work because they're repeatable. Repeatable is what matters. You hear us talk about it a lot on this channel. Small actions taken consistently over a long period of time always yield outsized results down the road. Always. You don't need a perfect start. You need a sustainable one. We need something that's going to stick. We need something we can do over and over and over again. Behavioral momentum matters. Tiny wins create consistency. Consistency builds trust in yourself. So our action step here is to shrink the habit down so small that you literally cannot fail. I want to start working out. Cool. Let's commit to 5 push-ups a day. You can do five, right? Who can't do 5 push-ups a day, right? Almost everyone can do 5 push-ups a day. Instead of saying, I'm going to start P90X or be a CrossFit champion in 3 weeks, why don't we commit to 5 push-ups and never miss? Let's start there and build the habit from that. Journal for 2 minutes, walk for 10 minutes, read 3 pages in a book, meditate for 60 seconds, not 3 minutes, 60 seconds. Drink 1 glass of water first thing in the morning. Start so small that it's really hard to fail. You build the tiny wins, you'll gain momentum, and you'll be surprised at how fast you start moving down the path, okay? So we need to start smaller than we want, but we need to set ourselves up for success because it becomes consistent. That's what we're looking for. Repeatable and consistent. Number 5, reinforce the identity that you want. Real habit change goes deeper than just your behavior. It becomes your identity. If you keep saying, I'm lazy, I have no discipline, I always mess this up, I'm just bad at routines, then guess what? You're going to be lazy. You're not going to have discipline. You will mess it up and you will suck at routines. And you keep feeding the old pattern. It's a mental thing. It's not who you are. It's who you've told yourself you are. People tend to act in line with the story they believe about themselves. So if you want lasting change, you need to reinforce a different identity in your mind. This is not fake confidence. This is not delusion. We want to build an evidence-based identity, right? Every time you do the new habit, no matter how small, you are collecting proof. Proof that you are more disciplined. Proof that you are changing. Proof that you keep promises to yourself. So our action step on this one is after every successful rep of something, we're going to say, that's what a disciplined person does. That's evidence. That's who I'm becoming. We're going to reinforce the actions with the thoughts in our head. Can't do it backwards. Can't just have the thoughts and not do the actions. It's not going to get you anywhere. You got to take the actions. Remember, we're going to reduce those so small that we're going to make it really, really hard to fail, but then we're going to reinforce it in our heads over and over and over again. So we change how we think about ourselves, change our identity to ourselves. Okay. I know it sounds basic, but I'm telling you it will work and I'm telling you it matters. Your identity follows the repeated proof that you provide for yourself. All right. So bottom line, you don't beat bad habits by hating yourself or beating up on yourself or feeling shitty about yourself. You're dooming yourself to failure if that's the approach. It's not going to work. It's not ever going to work. You beat them by understanding the pattern and replacing it intelligently with a habit you do want. Find the trigger, replace the routine, make the good habit easier, start small, reinforce the new identity. That's how real change happens. That's how you can change a habit you don't want and replace it with a habit you do want. It's not through a big emotional moment. It's not a quantum leap. It's not a eureka moment. It's through repeated, intentional repetition. Plain and simple. You don't have to be perfect. You need to build a better pattern. And once the pattern changes, your life will change with it. Okay? So that's how it works, guys. Hope that's helpful for you. If it's helpful for you, take this episode and send it to somebody who you think could use it. And look, I can use it. I'll watch this again because I'm not perfect at this. Nobody's perfect at this. But this is the steps. These are the steps. They will work if you work them hard enough and you commit to them. Small changes over a long period of time will yield outsized results down the road. Okay. Look, James puts it up over here every day. Head over to our website, saltygingertalk.com. All the podcast episodes are there. Links to all the social media accounts are there. We publish a newsletter every weekday you can subscribe to there. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe to our podcast, whatever platform you consume it on. We do a live stream every Thursday night, 6 p.m. Eastern time on our channel, Salty Ginger Talk. Make sure you tune into that. We've got guests lined up for the rest of the year. Awesome guests. You never know what you're going to hear on there. We just kind of talk about anything and everything. It's kind of a free-flowing and fast-wheeling conversation. Really good time. We're seeing the audience grow and grow on that. Make sure you catch that. It's all good stuff. It's all going to help you out. Make sure you catch our next episode. We'll see you there.